A warm welcome to our panelists and participants to the national webinar on the call to innovate. I quote McKinsey, 84% of executives say that their future success is dependent on innovation, unquote. Although innovation is a buzzword for some, there are many reasons why individuals and companies put a lot of emphasis on it. Innovation allows us to stay relevant in the competitive market. We can say innovation is the unrelenting drive to break the status quo and develop a new where few have dared to go. With this, I, Dr. Shiva Thomas, the anchor of the session, would like to welcome each one of you. I'm glad to be interacting with you this morning. This webinar has been organized by the MCM College of Management, headed by our director, Dr. Prabhu Dev. MCM College of Management is a flagship institution along with the MQI group of institutions offering 2-year MBA programs. Now, this institution is managed by a committed group of compassionate, dedicated, and philanthropic group. The highlight of MCM has been that it was awarded the most promising management college in Karnataka in the year 2019. MCM, under the leadership of Dr. Prabhu Dev, is moving ahead in a big way. We have had 2 batches of students who have passed out, and all have passed out and all have been placed and are doing exceptionally well. At MCM, we believe in adding value to students, faculty, staff, and all involved. Well, coming to our topic today, the call to innovate. Post-pandemic, it is said, the call to innovate in the post-pandemic. It is said, times of great crisis lead to times of great innovation. And it is during crisis we are confronted with the opportunity to think differently and create rapid change that can have a long-lasting impact. Now, 3 takeaways from this webinar are: the first one, process and steps for innovation that we're going to be learning. Second, discipline for making innovation happen. And third, how innovation can shape our future. A few guidelines at the start, before we start. The first one is, do put your audio on mute. Second, we will be having a Q&A towards the end of the session. Kindly reserve your questions for the Q&A. And if you would be wanting to raise your hands or probably address a question, you can send a chat to Professor Samath. We have the inaugural address by the director, Dr. Prabhu Dev, and followed by our main speaker, Mr. Raj Shekhar, who's the CEO of Global Leadership Partners, a mentor, a coach to many business and individuals. I'd like to take this time to introduce the director of MCM, Dr. Prabhu Dev. Dr. Prabhu Dev has over 45 years of academic experience with his PhD specialization in liquidity position of corporate securities in India and measures to impart greater liquidity. He's a certified corporate director, has an MBA, LLB to his credential. Sir was a professor and head of Department of Commerce and Management, Sheshadripuram College, Bangalore. He was the academic dean at College of Business of Economics, Northeast Africa. He was also the principal and director at CMR Institute of Management Studies, Bangalore, director at Surana College of PG Studies, and was a senior professor at Christ University. Also the college. Presently, he's the director of the MCM College of Management, MCM, the MQI College of Management, Bangalore. Sir has written a number of books, research papers, and 40, in addition, a lot of 40 and more articles, a motivational speaker too. We are glad to have you as our panelist, sir, and over to you for our inaugural address.
Thank you. What a beautiful morning. And it's a very nice feeling to have a very accomplished speaker, and it is very encouraging. We have a lot of participants, even participants from outside India, participants from 9 countries, and participants from Bangalore and outside Bangalore. I'm sure the participation is mainly because of 2 things, the topic and the speaker. Very nice topic for today's national webinar. See, the way human evolution has taken place only suggests that innovation and creativity constitute an integral part of human mind. Human mind always wants change. Human mind wants to drive the change because our mind is basically very inquisitive, very curious mind, and a mind which is always in pursuit of change, experiencing something new. So it is all about identify the need and fill the need. Dr. Shiba was talking about the importance of innovation. Yes, let us conjure up images of different types of innovation that have taken place in our own lifetime, from where to where we have come. You know, there was no telephone. In many houses, there was no telephone at all. In case we wanted to have an international call, we had to book the call. But today, you know, that mobile telephone, and it has taken us from where to where, and from film photography to digital photography, of images. So many innovations have taken place in our lives. And the reason we can feel that novelty is very important, and utility aspect of novelty is also very important. And all of us know the importance of having very clear vision, ability to see things which are otherwise invisible for others. Innovative mind will have very clear vision. I would like to recall the saying of John Bernard Shaw. He says, some men see things as they are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not. It is everything about doing things differently, thinking in a different way, and coming out with problem-solving solution. And some people who have innovative mind, they are passionately in pursuit of driving a change, ability to seeing things differently. Dr. Shiva was telling about crisis and all that. If you just recall what happened in the recent past, you see, the future also looks quite challenging. Innovative mind will take into consideration. Innovative mind is basically futuristic, and we live in an extremely dynamic world. We live in VUCA world. Uncertainty, volatility, complexity, and ambiguity are seen every day. So what it takes for us to encounter the future challenges, we need to ensure that innovation and creativity become an integral part of the organizational approach, so much that such organization will have people who are quality professionals with quality, who have the ability to see future, who have very clear vision, who are able to see things differently, who are able to size up problems and come out with a very creative solution. And we all know that the success of any organization is largely based on how good the innovation process is seen in such organization. I would like to quote a survey involving 1,000 CEOs. When they are asked a question about the main factor, main reason for the success of their organization, 92% of them, they said, the success of their organization is largely because of innovation and creativity that is profoundly present in their organization. And exploitation of new ideas is very, very important. And innovation, it has got a lot of benefit for the organization. An organization which has got innovative approach, it is able to enhance the revenue, it is able to reduce the cost, beef up the bottom line, because when the cost is reduced, it will directly contribute to the profitability. And not just that, such organizations will be able to create new job markets and also gaining competitive advantage. Innovative companies doing extremely well will also contribute to the economy. The economy, income in the economy, level of employment goes up. And another important thing is that companies which are able to float themselves, companies which are able to handle crisis very well, very efficiently, have lived they have come a long way. We have seen companies which exist for 75 years, 80 years, 100 years. I was reading a book by Jim Collins, the bestseller book, How the Mighty Fall. And what the author says, there is no law of nature that the most powerful will inevitably remain at the top. If you look into Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 500 companies, list of companies based on the revenue since its inception in the year 1955, out of 500 companies, only 52 companies figure continuously in the Fortune 500. It only suggests that those companies are able to successfully innovate, effectively innovate, and demonstrate extreme agility and endurance and resilience, keep themselves going. And open innovation model, successful companies have open innovation model where they go beyond their own research and development center for new ideas. And innovation and new idea thrive in an environment where there is conducive environment for open debate and communication. Innovation is not just restricted to business. It is important in all fields. In teaching, because we go to the same class every day, to ensure that there is not even a single dull moment, the teacher has to have an innovative mind. The teacher has to ensure that he takes input to the class and the deliverables assume a different approach, a different perspective altogether. And this webinar, I'm sure, will have a lot of takeaway for all the participants. And there were more than 600 registrations. Sure, many people are going to join now. And there is participation from different countries. From Kenya, Malaysia, Oman, Philippines, China, UK, Cambodia, Bangladesh, Pakistan. And there are participation from within the state and outside the state of Karnataka. So it is a good sign. And that only shows that the topic and the speaker and the institution has attracted larger number of participation. We are all eager to listen to Mr. Rajshekhar, who is the most sought after resource person because he is associated continuously with the organization in strategic planning, business transformation, and he is a mentor and a coach for many corporate leaders. So he's close to innovation. Innovation is close to his heart. And I compliment the participants for registering in this important webinar. I compliment my team here, and I thank the management of the institution for providing facilities to come out with this national webinar. Without much ado, I would like to hand over to the speaker, Mr. Raj, eagerly awaiting to hear Mr. Raj's words. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, sir, for your words of welcome and also challenging us to be attentive to the session. It's time to introduce our main speaker, Mr. Raj Shekhar, the CEO of Global Leadership Partners. A brief profile about him. Raj Shekhar heads Global Leadership Partners, an organization focused on releasing potential and creating leaders. Prior to this, Raj was a general manager with IBM. In IBM, he was responsible for career development for 2 of the business units across the globe. Before moving into the global job, Raj headed professional development in Asia Pacific for IBM. Raj has also worked in the ASEAN region and in India with IBM. For 3 years, he was responsible for the leadership development in the 6 ASEAN countries of IBM. In IBM, India, Raj has held leadership positions in business transformation, customer satisfaction, general services, procurement, and learning. During his tenure in IBM India, he was a member of the 7-member executive team that governed IBM India. In all, he has spent 12 years with IBM. He moved into IBM from Xerox. Over the 12 years that Raj was with Xerox, he held leadership positions in sales, marketing, quality, and customer satisfaction. His last job with Xerox was country manager, quality, and customer satisfaction. Passionate about releasing potential in people, Raj has had the opportunity to coach many executives and CEOs. He has been instrumental in taking them to the next level of leadership. He coaches senior executives in the area of executive presence, strategic thinking, business transformation, authentic leadership, stature building. While coaching executives, Raj realized the importance of happiness and its relation to executive effectiveness, and this led him to explore the topic of happiness. Today, Raj helps people find happiness and speaks on the subject. He also conducts happiness workshops. Leadership, people development, and happiness are major areas of interest for Raj. He has designed and delivered a number of leadership and other developmental programs on these subjects. He has also been called to speak on the subject of leadership in many business schools, business forums, and seminars. Raj loves to read. He reads books on learning, leadership, and personal development. He also reads a lot of fiction to relieve stress. He loves writing and has published short stories and articles in newspapers and magazines. Raj graduated from St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, India, and has a postgraduate diploma in quality management from London School of Quality. He is a certified coach, certified leadership development facilitator, and a master learning facilitator. He is based out of Bangalore, India, and I have the privilege of being mentored by him. Thank you, Raj, for in the midst of your busy schedule, you found time to speak to us. We're so glad you're with us. Without taking much time, over to you, Raj, for the session on innovation.
Sir, you are on mute, sir.
Thank you for reminding me that, because often I start talking and then I realize I'm on mute. So thank you. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Shiba and Dr. Prabhu Dev, for inviting me here to share with you all a little bit on innovation. I'm very excited about this topic, and I've been doing a lot of work around innovation, the topic of innovation, and also mentoring people to be innovators. So thank you very much for providing this opportunity this morning. And I also want to thank the MQA College of Management for inviting me. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you. And over the question answers, I'm also looking forward to learning from you. Okay, questions also make us think and learn. So the next hour or so, or 50 minutes, we will be talking about innovation. And normally what I do is my sessions are interactive. We have people, even on Zoom, we have people who would share back with me, but in a webinar that becomes a little difficult, especially when we have large numbers. So we will be constrained to some extent, but nevertheless, I will still try and do certain things which will get you to interact. So to start with, one of the things that you can do is make sure you have some place to make notes. It could be a piece of paper, it could be a phone, or it could be a system, just to put down some notes. Because one way to make sure that you learn something out of a session is to be involved in taking notes, making observation. And even as I bring certain truths to you, you may suddenly start thinking and putting down some things that you can do. So that's what my request would be. Let me quickly share my screen. All right, so this is a call to innovation. And you would have already seen and heard the session objectives that we're going to be working with. We will talk about certain process steps. We will talk about the environment and the discipline. We'll talk about innovation and how it will shape your future. And of course, I will start with what is innovation, and bring it down to a level where you can understand that and you can act on it. So before we go any further, what I want to ask you is, what is innovation? Surely you can't go off your mute button and come and talk, but what you can do is put it down on your chat. In 1 word, 2 words, or max 1 sentence. What is your idea of innovation? Okay, so let's start a chat storm. You can put it on chat. What is innovation? So can you put it on your chat? 1 word, 1 sentence, 2 words, whatever. What comes to your mind when you think of innovation? What's your idea of innovation?
So the answers are coming on Q&A box, not in the chat box.
All right. Okay. Bringing something new to the world. Very good. Lekha says, new creative idea to solve the problem of society. Yes. New methods. Very good. What else? What comes to your mind when you think of innovation? Yes, there's some more coming. Lots of them more coming. Thinking in different way, new ideas, new use, something, surely, and I'm sure we can create a chat storm out of this. There'll be many more coming. So basically, what we are all saying is something new, something different. That is what innovation is all about. Let me get back to my main screen. Give me a minute. Okay. So we've got a whole idea, a whole the thought process of what innovation is. What is innovation when you think of that word? What comes to you? That's what we were talking about. So let's see. So as you're saying, something new, it's an idea, it's a solution, it's a new product, right? And we can all relate to that. Let me give you some examples. An idea. What's an idea? I'll give you one example, and this happened in I've experienced this in Singapore, and I'm sure now many of the other countries also do it. As you travel in, you can put your passport onto an opening, and as you walk through, your passport is being scanned, and by the end of it, when you reach the other end, your passport comes out, is already stamped. Whatever they need to check about your credibility, your bona fide intention, etc., all that is done. So there is no interaction with any immigration official. You just walk out, you pick up your passport and you walk out. Immigration is done in less than 5 minutes. or even less. So that was an idea. Somebody came up with an idea, and then it got implemented. And we travelers, people who travel, we get the benefit of that. Because it's done so fast, you don't have to really wait in lines, etc. So you save your time and you go out very satisfied, because it's a process where there is no waiting really, and no interaction, and you feel nice. You just pick up your passport and you walk out. So that's an idea, and I'm sure there are millions of different ideas that comes up in the world every day, and all of them get implemented, and a new innovation comes into the service or a product. The other one is a solution. Now, innovation brings about solution to problems. Now, for instance, I saw this, I heard about it in Kuala Lumpur. So I spent a day with the people who actually came up with the solution. So in Kuala Lumpur, if you've been there, one of the problems they used to face much earlier was when it rained, the roads used to get flooded. And I'm sure some of you can relate to the cities you are from, that when it really rains, the city gets flooded. And then the other problem was they had a traffic issue. Okay, I come from Bangalore, and therefore many of you are from Bangalore, and you know that what happens in Bangalore when there is a office time or school time, etc. The roads are chock-a-block with traffic, right? So in Kuala Lumpur also, they were facing this problem, and it got worse when it rained, because then the roads would get flooded, traffic would move when it got worse. And so there were these people, they were into the business of construction, and these, I think there were 3 of them, they got together, they talked about this particular problem, and they said, let's brainstorm, let's come up with some solution. And if we can really come up with something that's outstanding solution, our city will benefit. And their solution was, they said, we will put tunnels under the ground, and when it rains, they will open the tunnel openings, and water will be taken out through that into the sea or the lake or wherever the water goes. And when it was not raining, they opened up the same tunnels for traffic. So with that,
excuse me, Raj, can you put this on presenters mode?
Sure. So what I was saying was that the tunnels in Kuala Lumpur city, they address the issue of both traffic and flooding. Now, coming to the new product, I'm sure you must have heard about the universal phone charger that's coming. It's a irritation, to every time you buy a new phone, you need to find a new charger. And these days, some of the phone companies, they've stopped making chargers. They expect you to buy it separately if you don't have one, and they're expensive. So the European Union, they came up with this norm or a diktat saying every phone company should come up with just one phone charger. I'm sure the phone companies struggle with it, and I believe by June or so of next year, we will get a charger which you can use on any phone, and that itself is an innovation. Surely it'll come to India at some point in time when India makes that rule saying that all phones should have only one charger. Okay, so that's a new product which is going to come out. So what we're saying is innovation is an idea, a solution, a new product, etc. Now I want to introduce the topic of creativity. Okay, and I'll share with you quickly a little later in terms of how they're connected, creativity and innovation. So what is creativity? It is thinking differently. It is new thoughts. Okay, it is being curious. Dr. Prabhu Dev was talking about curiosity in his opening address. It's about different perspective. It is about experimenting. It is about breaking from the precedents. So what I've seen in the corporate world, and this is something that happens in many of the organizations, is people just follow a set norm. Okay. So I've sat through many the leadership meeting in the corporates, and they talk about saying that, okay, this is what we achieved. We achieved certain number of millions. Now we want to have X millions more. And so the question is, how do we go there? Now, I always tell them that if you look at what you did last time and you want to repeat it, you're not going to get there. Because what you did last time will get you only what you achieved. You need to think differently. And so we get people to put their thinking caps on, and we start the process of brainstorming. And soon enough, some thoughts emerge, which is something new, which is thinking differently. And of course, the questions come, can we do this? Is it possible? Is this done? And I tell them, don't worry about it. We will see how to make it happen. And a lot of new thoughts come in, and that's the time when people stop thinking about everything else, start using the brain. And then they start being curious to say, what works? What won't work? What's my competition doing? What does the customer want? All right. So different perspective, and perspective not from a point of view, okay, we did, we achieved 110% last time. So let's increase our target numbers and go to maybe 150%. That is not going to help. Yes, as a target, as a benchmark, that could help. Also, sometimes we have to experiment. We may not get everything right. And as we experiment, we may realize this is not working. And therefore, we need to take corrective action, and we need to make things happen. Again, coming back to breaking the precedent, we always say, think outside the box, right? So we have the marketing books. We have all the gurus talking about how to sell, how to have loyalty. If you just follow that, maybe you will get some results. But you need to come out of all of that at some point in time and say, okay, what should I do differently? That is breaking the precedent. So all of this is creativity. Now, how does creativity and innovation connect? So creativity starts by doing all this: curiosity, new thoughts, thinking differently, doing things differently. And I say that when creativity grows up, it is innovation. Okay. Now, let me also bring something here in terms of talent. Okay. We always seem to associate creativity with people who are maybe in the movies, or who can draw, who can sing, etc. I would say that is talent. Surely they could also be creative, right? But creativity is more than talent. Okay, talent is good, talent is great, but creativity is more than talent. But when we start doing this, when we stop following the path that everybody takes, when we sit back and think about it, when we come up with new thoughts and ideas, that's the beginning of creativity. And then creativity slowly starts giving us solutions, giving us ideas, helping us to come up with new products. And that is where innovation starts. Now, I want to ask this question: what drives innovation? So you must have heard the saying, necessity is the mother of innovation. It's an old English proverb. And the original proverb, the word was invention. Necessity is the mother of invention. And just that the word has changed, innovation has come in. Innovation, invention is almost the same, right? So when you have a need, and as again, Dr. Prabhu Dev talked about that in the opening remarks, that when you have a need, then you work towards finding a solution. And that is where the creativity and innovation kicks in. And I've also had people whom I work with, and they just sat in the room and they had a challenge. They had a need, a customer saying that they wanted something totally different. And they were totally blank because they did not know how to come up with something new for the customer. Okay, because they were so set. They said, this is how it should be. But the customer is asking for something new. So really have to struggle with these people and say, hey, stop. You have laid down a certain process. You have come up with a certain product, but time to go back to zero thinking, or go back to ground zero and say, we did well, but if you keep doing that, you lose your customer. You need to change course. You need to think differently. All right. So very often necessity is what kicks off the journey for innovation. Now, I want to share with you a story to talk about how necessity is the mother of invention. I don't think many of you would have heard Chester Carlson and the invention he came up with, although I'm sure most of you would have used his product. So Chester Carlson was an ordinary clerk in a law firm, which meant he had to type a lot of briefs for the court. And those days, when the typing was done, they used to make 3-4 copies, and they used to use what is called a carbon sheet. And the carbon sheet would help to create 4-5 copies. Of course, the fourth and fifth copies were not all that legible, but they needed those copies to be sent to somewhere to file it with the code, give it to the customer, all of that. And at the end of the day, Chester Carlson found that his hands were dirty with carbon. His clothes were dirty. He used to wear white shirt and he used to wear a coat and a tie and all that. And he was pretty annoyed with that. He said, I'm sure there must be another way to do it. There must be a clean way to produce copies, to make copies, duplicate copies. And so because of that messy carbon copies, that frustration, he started thinking. He started investing time after work to come up, experimenting and come up with something which would help him to have what he called a dry ink, which would produce dry copies and it would not spoil, mess up with his hands or his clothes. And surely enough, after failing many, many times, he persevered and he came up with what is a copier. And of course, it's today the copy, what we use for making copies. All right. And he sold that right. Again, he must have approached at least 50 different big companies in US saying that here is something I've come up with. Can you make this into your product? I will sell you my rights. But everybody said, who wants a copier? I don't think anybody will need a copier. Carbon copies are pretty good. But then the Xerox Corporation, at that point in time, they were into photofilms, etc. They thought Chester Carlson's invention, his new way of making copies had a great future. And therefore, they bought the rights from him and they started making Xerox machines. And of course, surely after 20 years, Japan came up with the different copiers. So just see, as far as Chester Carlson was concerned, he was frustrated. I had a boss who would tell me that, Raj, frustration is good. Sometimes I used to go to him. This was the time I used to work with Xerox, and I used to go to him, and he was the head of HR at that point of time. And he used to say that, I know you're frustrated, but frustration is good. And I would tell him, what do you mean? Why do you say frustration is good? He would say, because you're frustrated, you want to do something about it. And because you're frustrated, you want to sit back and think, what should I do different? And that taught me that to be frustrated is not a problem. Frustration is an avenue or an opportunity to think differently, to be creative, to come up with innovative solutions, ideas, and suggestions or products. Now, what does innovation result in? Again, I'll share with you another story. You must have heard about Blockbuster. They used to distribute the video cassettes those days in US, and they had chain of shops all over the place. People could walk in, hire a video, go see it, and return it. And again, they could pick up another one. So they had membership, and it seemed to work well. And then Netflix came into the picture, and I call that Netflix One because that was the early avatar. And what did Netflix do? They started a mail order. And so people didn't have to go into a shop. They just had to go into the email, put it saying that this is the title of the cassette I want. And they would send out through courier and dispatch people to their home. And again, when they came in with the new video, the cassette, the older one would be picked up. But Netflix didn't stop at that, as we know today. The Netflix decided to innovate. And today, as you know, they are over the OTT platform, which is, over the top, which means that they are available on your TV. And you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to send an email. You have the choice. You can, and you don't have any challenges with the advertisement and things like that. You can see a movie without any disturbance of advertisement. And I don't know if you still watch the cable TV. Cable TV, a movie will be something like 4 hours or something, or 3 hours. But Netflix, that same movie, you can see it probably in 2 hours, right? So this is innovation. This is from chain shops. They reached a place where you don't have to leave your house. You have the option of choosing anything that you want, all right? So innovation results in solutions that delight the customer. And of course, when the innovation happens, as Dr. Prabhu Dev was talking about it, it really comes up with something very creative, all right? And it's competitive in nature, and it wipes away the competition. Moving on, let me tell you another story, another interesting story. And this is about a gentleman called Sir John Whitmore. Okay. Now, some of you must have heard of Sir John Whitmore, especially in the management institutes. You must be hearing about how he brought in coaching, executive coaching into the business. So Sir John Whitmore, at that point of time, he was not Sir, he was just John Whitmore. Later, when he became famous, Queen Elizabeth II knighted him and therefore got the title Sir John Whitmore. But he was an ordinary tennis coach. Of course, I don't believe he was an ordinary tennis coach. He was doing extremely well. And he would tell his coaches, the people who were playing tennis and who were wanting to learn to play tennis and get good at it, he would tell them, hey, listen, the problem with you is your backhand is not good. The problem with you is you're not concentrating and looking at the ball. The problem with you is you come forward too close to the net, blah, 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 all that. And he realized the result on the coachee was very, very limited. And then he sat and thought, he said, what do I need to do so that the coachee will listen to me, take ownership, and go and do something which will improve the coaching's ability to play the game of tennis better. So the tell mode was not working. Tell mode is when you tell people, do this, do that, do this, that is tell mode. So then he said, I decided to make the coachee think. We had a conversation. And in that conversation, I asked the coachee, that is John Whitmore, asked the coachee, what do you think should be done to improve your backhand? And the coachee, being close to the problem, would come up with more solutions and suggestions, etc. And then between John Whitmore and the coachee, they would pick up the best solution and go with it. And as they did this, better ideas emerged. Ideas which was better than what the tennis coach had in mind for a solution to make the coachee better at tennis. And not only that, the coachee was taking ownership. And what happened after that is John Whitmore actually moved, he gave up the game of tennis and he moved into the corporate world. And he became the first executive coach. And that was the time he started coaching a lot of the CEOs in different companies. And that's one of the activities I do. I coach CEOs and their direct reports one-to-one. And this is exactly what I do, what John Whitmore had talked about. It's called GROW model of coaching. GROW means goal, options, goal, reality, options, and a will. Okay. So this again was an innovative way of doing things. Now, I, as a coach, I do not know much about technology because I'm not a techie, all right? But I deal with techie situations. I deal with techie problems. And I don't need to know all of that because all that I'm doing is the guy who may be a CTO, Chief Technology Officer, when I'm working with him, all that I'm doing is I'm making him think. I'm pushing him to think. And sure enough, at the end of it, he will have a solution. I had this situation one time. I was working with somebody and he was an IBM. He was one of the techies. He was heading a function. And he said, Raj, can I have an hour of your time? And I said, surely you can. So we fixed the time and we sat and talked. And, in IBM, there were about 40,000 people those days. And as we talked, I didn't understand anything he was talking about. The only thing that stood out for me is VLSI. Okay. I didn't even know what was the full form of VLSI. And I knew it was a technical challenge. All that I did with him was asked him to tell me what he wanted out of that session, what was the thing that he was looking for. And then I asked him to tell me what is the reality, what are the people involved, all of that. And then I said, okay, what do you think should be done? And so he came out with a whole lot of solution, etc. And he picked up a solution and we put some checks into that. And we thought that was the best solution. And we parted ways and he went off. Then after about 4 months, I had not heard from him because we don't keep bumping into people. It's such a large organization. I was walking down in Bangalore at the MG Road and I heard my name being called, Raj. And I looked back and I thought I knew this person. And then I stopped. He said, Raj, you remember we had that coaching session, those some 3-4 months back? I said, yes, I remember that. He said, your solution helped us and it is helping us to earn a lot of revenue because the customers' problems have been solved. Customers' pain points have been addressed. I said, wait a minute. I didn't come up with a solution. You came up with a solution. And he said, yes, but you helped me. So that's what is Sir John Whitmore's coaching all about. He came up with this innovative idea, how to make people think and get the people to come up with solutions, because normally in normal life, people don't think. So let's go back to what we were telling you about creativity. Now, in all of this, there is a challenge. I think you know what the challenge is, right? The challenge is that today we don't have time to think, because we are so preoccupied. We are in a state where we cannot be bored, right? The minute we are bored, we can take up one of our gadgets and we can keep typing into it or checking all our WhatsApp statuses. We can look at the videos that come through. So we're not bored. And what it also does is we don't get time to think. That's one part of it. The second part of it is, look at our lifestyle. It's a hurry, it's a worry, it's a bury, it's a burnout situation, right? What I'm saying is we are over-engaged and therefore we have no time to think, okay? We are so preoccupied with everything that's going on around us that we do not sit back and think. Sometime back, somebody decided to do a creative test. And so this was a survey done, and you can see the age groups there, 6 to 10, 11 to 20, etc. And they actually went beyond 60, okay? Now, do you know what they did was they gave some simple problems and they asked the people how to solve it and etc. Now, do you know which group would have been the most creative people? I'll tell you. I'm sure this is no surprise to you, right? 60% of those kids, 6 to 10 years old, were creative. Whereas as the age went up, it started coming down. So in fact, when they did the 60 plus, it was less than 5%. Only 5% of those people in 60 plus group were creative. Now, why is that? Very simple. We have been conditioned. The schools, colleges are good, but we've been put into a kind of a straitjacket. By the time we finish our education, we think, okay, this is the way we have to do things, right? And probably the discipline or probably the way we've been conditioned, we don't want to question. We don't want to ask, is there another way? Or even worry about thinking. They say, okay, this is given to us, fine, we will take that. So it's like someone who says that, I want to travel from point A to point B in a very busy city, and I love my car, so I'm going to drive on it. And it will take him probably 4 hours to get to his destination. Whereas there may be a metro rail that's available, which would take him in maybe 35 minutes. But he's not thinking. Okay. He says, well, I'm used to my car. I like to drive in my car, so I will use it. So that's what's happening. See, when we were young, we were curious. I'll give you another example of that, which must be happening to all of us. So when I was small, I saw a line of ants. So what did I do? I was very curious. I went to see where are they coming from, where are they going, and knelt down to see what are they carrying. But today, if I see a line of ants in my house, what do? I would reach for that flint. I want to kill them all. I don't want ants in my house. There's no curiosity where they're coming, where they're going, no, right? So our curiosity has been killed. We have been conditioned to do what we know, what we have learned. That's all. We don't want to look beyond that. Now, quickly, as our time is running out, I want to do an exercise. So what you see there is a card. This is a Connoisseur Club card, my card, which expired in October. And so they've actually sent me a new card now. But this is the old card. So it has no utility to say, right? It's just a plastic card. Now, if you have your paper, wherever you want to write this down, I want you to think and come up with at least 5 things in 1 minute in terms of what you can do with this card. Okay. So your time starts now. At least 5 things in 1 minute. What can you do with this card? Remember, it has no utility. The club will not take this card. All right. But can we do anything with the card, or shall we shred it and throw it away? Just think of it and put down at least 5 things that you can do with this card. I'm going to stop now 1 minute from now. Pen it down or key it in. What can you do with this card? I hope you're thinking, putting down your ideas. Maybe another half a minute and we'll stop. Okay, we'll stop there. Now, let's put some of those on the chat. If you can, what you have already put down. Oh, fantastic. It says make 6 guitar picks out of it. Be the change or genomics. Okay, that's something else. Bookmark, yeah, very good. Many ways we can utilize it, yes. Make it an ID card. Yes, quite a lot of ideas coming in. I'm sure you would have got 5 or more. I do this exercise when you're doing face-to-face or even on Zoom where we have smaller numbers. We do this exercise and in about a minute, at least 10 to 20 ideas come for people. They just think. Now, what has been done here? You've got this, you've been challenged, you have been told that you can actually look at this card and use it. So you shut down every other activity and you focus and you concentrate and use all your energy to come up with some thoughts in terms of finding an utility for this card. And I don't shred these cards. I have my credit cards. I have cards which I use earlier days when I used to go overseas. We had to get a phone card, and especially Southeast Asia, the cards were very, very had a lot of picture and very attractive ones. So I've collected it over the years, and I use it in my programs. I use it as a just like the game we played. We do different things with the card. I also use the card to put some kind of a paper over it, stick it, so that it becomes some kind of a pad. You can use it as a pad, distribute it in the class. So this is one example, and you've already seen that when you stop doing everything else and when you start focusing on one thing and you start thinking, you will get some solutions. So earlier we were saying that, give me a minute to go off the, yeah. So when we were earlier talking about, people are not able to think. So if we can stop doing what we are doing, and if we can find time to think, that will be the starting part to be creative. Now, I've got good news for you. And the good news is that, see, all of us are creative, right? All of us have the ability to be innovative. It's just that we are over-engaged. And because we are over-engaged, we are not creative, right? So you saw that what percentage of people were creative, etc. Now, the point is this: if we want to be creative, we can be creative, all right? And therefore, remember this, that we need to take a step back. We need to find some time to think. So coming to the part about making innovation happen, just 4 things I've put down, very simple things. And if we can start doing that, then change will happen in your life. You will become creative. You will become innovative. Never ever think that you are not creative. Never ever think that only a very specialized group of people are creative. Oh, scientists, they're creative. Or researchers, they're creative. Or even the people who have talent, they're creative. No, we all of us are creative. It's just that we are over engagement has killed creativity. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is change our lifestyle. It's not what the doctor says, change your lifestyle. What I'm meaning is surely slow down. Okay, find time to think. Right. We were doing another session somewhere, and someone said that what do you do first thing in the morning? First thing in the morning, you wake up, you take your phone, and you start responding to your messages, or you're looking at people's status. And he said a very good thing. He said, I do not look at my phone till I've had a quiet time. Okay, and his quiet time, and he would say his prayers, he would read the scriptures, etc. And only then he will pick up his phone and check what's on his phone. And we talked to a whole lot of creative CEOs, and they also said this. In the first hour or two after they wake up, they don't do anything which is connected to the phone or emails. They would spend more time thinking about the problems in front of them, thinking about solutions. And that is where we have come up with something called the quiet time. Okay, quiet time is when you sit alone doing nothing. Now, this quiet time is a way for your unconscious mind to get in touch with your conscious mind. Okay, there'll be a lot of things in your unconscious mind, but it is not getting an opportunity to address it or bring it to your attention. Because unless it comes to your attention, you are not able to act on it. And therefore, in the beginning, the quiet time will be a time when all of this will keep coming. And over a period of time, you'll find a quiet time is really quiet. A quiet time when you sit outside the balcony or in the park or wherever and do nothing, just look at the creation and enjoy maybe the birds are around, they're chirping, you can hear the gentle breeze. That's the time you really sit back and slowly thoughts come into your mind. The more you start thinking, and if you're working on a very critical idea, etc., you might jump up, wake up in the middle of the night, and an idea may be there. That idea has woken you up, right? So change your life. Change your lifestyle. And what I'm saying is that surely you have to be in the social medias, be there, but make sure that it's not 24/7. You need to see Netflix, not again 24/7, right? You need to socialize, you need to party, but all of that, bring it down to moderation. So you have time to think. Put away your phones. Okay. Most of us have a challenge with the screen time. I met somebody the other day, and she was saying, my screen time is 10 hours. And I said, the first thing to do is at least cut it down by 1 hour. Okay. And put 15 minutes of that to be a thinking time. Find a quiet spot, start with the quiet time and get into thinking time. The second one is cultivate Kaizen habit. Okay. What is Kaizen? Kaizen is a Japanese word, and what Kaizen means is continuous improvement. Okay. When I do my day, I have a column. I use quadrants to do it. I don't just put things to do one after the other. I have 4 quadrants. So one of the quadrants, I put it as Kaizen. Okay. Kaizen means continuous improvement, which means that I don't sit back. I say, what can I do to make this better? Okay. So there is a column which says business as usual, which is all the phone calls I have to make, some meetings, etc. will be there. And there'll be a column which is to do with my personal work. And then there's a column which is to do with all the project work, the current project that I may be doing. And then Monday to Friday, if I find that the Kaizen column has been empty, then I know that week for me has been business as usual. I haven't done anything creative. I have not really checked and said, what else can I do to make this better, an offering better, maybe my coaching skills better, all of that. Okay. So Kaizen column every day, if you put it down, and surely you may not be able to do Kaizen activity every day, but at least 3 out of the 5 days is good, or even to start with 2 out of 5 days is good, right? So that is something that we need to create a mindset, a Kaizen mindset to do, continuous improvement. Sometime back, I was reading that Disneyland, I don't know how many of you went to Disneyland. I had the privilege of going to Disneyland, spending the whole day there. And I was amazed by the precision, and I was amazed by the experience they could give a customer like me. And then I started digging more, trying to understand more how this happens, etc. And then they told me one thing, which was pretty profound. They said, we don't wait for things to break down. We break things down and fix it or bring in new things. Okay. So if you go 3 times to the Disneyland, you'll find there'll be something new. All right. There'll be something new. And why? Because of the cultivating the Kaizen mindset. All right. And you can see some of the other points there. The important thing when you come with the when you start cultivating the Kaizen mindset is you need to find time to think, right? You need to put aside that time. And I'm sure, and I can challenge you that any problem that you have, you start getting into that habit of thinking. Over a period of time, you will find a solution. Even if it is a suggestion or solution in your mind saying, well, I should go meet up with so-and-so. I need to discuss this idea with that person. Maybe that person can guide me. Or I need to go and check out these resources on the internet. Or I need to pick up this book and read. That may be beginning. And then after that, you may actually come up with some suggestion or solution, which is better than what you read or what somebody told you. Another thing is to find solutions for pain points. If you're working as a customer, if you have customers, internal, external, you need to find out what are their pain points. And you need to start problem solving or thinking about how do I solve that problem. And that is where innovation comes in. If you're not working, if you're a student, then you could start looking at the problems around us in our society, whether it is filth in the streets, whether it is pollution, whether it is the roads chock-a-block with traffic. Start thinking about it. Start thinking and start saying, can you come up with an idea or a solution for that? If you find that you don't want to do this alone, get a group together, brainstorm together. I'm sure there will be some simple things that you can come up with, which will reduce the problem. And as you keep at it, you'll find some breakthrough ideas and solutions, which will really make an impact on those challenges and problems. So again, 4 simple things. Now, it's no rocket science behind it. Is to make innovation happen. To start with, change your lifestyle. Okay, be in the present more. Okay, don't be hurrying and worrying and burning yourself out. You need to have a Kaizen mindset, because a lot of people, when they achieve a certain thing, they sit back. They say, oh, well, it's done. We have done. Or you finish your college education, you say, this is done. But learning is continuous. You need to be a continuous learner. Till your death, you need to be learning new things, right? And of course, it doesn't stop at learning new things. You need to apply. Similarly, Kaizen is about finding different ways to do something. Yes, I may have done something very well and everybody's happy with it. And, I may have been recognized, all of that. But can I do anything better than that, right? So if you look at the iPhones, every year they bring out a new model. And, I'm challenged by it because my iPhone is 6 and my wife tells me that, look, it's there is 12 or 13, iPhone is 12 or 13. When are you going to move into those? I said, I don't need to, because it meets all that I need to do, right? So that must be maybe the extreme as far as the different models coming out. But the point is, they're not sitting back. They're trying to bring in a new feature, something new, so that your life becomes much more easier. Some challenges in your life are getting addressed, all right? Yes, find time to think, number 3. And finally, you have to look around to find challenges so that you can come up with solutions. You need to look at pain points, whether it's your customer or somebody you serve, and then you can come up with a solution. All right, moving on quickly. What is the environment and discipline for making innovation happen? Well, if you're working in an organization, I would say, yes, you need a supportive environment, okay? So we've been trying to put this in a number of organizations where we're trying to help them make their people innovators. So we create the awareness, we give them some amount of hand-holding, we give them some amount of programs, etc. So they know how to do brainstorming, they can do some of the other creative tools and processes they can use. And if anybody comes up, we have idea schemes, and everybody comes up with something good, we recognize them at the first level, then we reward them, which would be cash. And we'll also provide them with subject matter experts and tech support, etc., so that these people can help them shape it. And sometimes an idea needs a tech support to create into an app, etc. All of that is done, right? And the important thing is, with all of that done, if the employee doesn't have a self-discipline, then it doesn't happen, right? If they are just only bogged down or totally occupied by their work and they don't have time to think, none of these can help. Now, if you are not working, okay, if you are in business or if you are a student, then none of these except one applies to you, right? So then it is only self-discipline and self-motivation, because there's no one to recognize you. There may not be SME tech support, etc. The environment you have may not be support you. Not many people will say, oh, you're doing a great job, please go ahead, do it. Or I think your idea is good, because there may be somewhat of competition. And even if your idea is good, they may say, oh, I don't think your idea is all that great. So what you need is a discipline of saying, okay, I'm going to sit down today for half an hour or 1 hour, whatever time you can give. And I'm going to keep thinking, totally focused on this particular problem. And I will come out with some solution. Now, the next block is talking about, about motivation, and it's talking about self-motivation. And, when you talk about motivation, you really cannot motivate anyone. You can influence their motivation, influence the motivation levels or environment for motivation. But the best form of motivation is self-motivation, right? So there may be no rewards, there may be no recognition, etc. There may not be a supporting environment, but you need to motivate yourself saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep at it till I find something. It could, to start with, it may be to become a thinker, right? And then make sure that whatever ideas come up, you actually use it to solve a problem or meet a pain point. Now, what we've been talking thus far, we have been talking about what is innovation. We talked about the connection between innovation and the creativity. We gave you a number of examples, etc., about how innovation really took place, and the summary of that whole thing is that we can be innovators. Okay, we need to be people who are self-disciplined. We need to be people who think. We need to be people who would sit back at some point and say, hey, I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to just sit, and that quiet time eventually becomes a thinking time. I want to close with a woodcutter story. There was this woodcutter, and he was cutting a tree in a village. And one of the travelers passing through the village in the morning had seen this woodcutter trying to cut that tree. And in the evening, when the same traveler was going back to his village, he saw the woodcutter still busy trying to cut down that big tree. So the traveler stopped and said, hey, it looks like you've been hard at work, but the tree is still standing. And the woodcutter said, yes, sir, the tree is standing. I don't know what to do. I've been hard at work the whole day, but the tree still stands. And the traveler said, please come down and bring your axe with you. And so the woodcutter came down with the axe. The traveler took the axe and looked at the axe, and he was surprised to see that the axe was blunt, which means it was not sharp enough. And so the traveler asked the woodcutter and told the woodcutter, saying, my man, your axe is blunt. So the woodcutter said, yes, sir, I know, but I don't have time. I don't have time. Can you imagine that? The woodcutter did not have time to make his axe sharp enough. Now, after being through this last 55 minutes or so, if you do nothing about it, if you don't put a quiet time in place, if you don't, get away somewhere and start thinking about how I can solve certain problems, etc., your story would be the same as the woodcutter's story. Okay, so invest your time to change your lifestyle, to become a Kaizen mindset, okay, and be a thinker. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raj. It was frustration is a venue to be more creative. And we are most of the time conditioned. We don't want to ask questions. Thank you for challenging us, and also the action plan to call to innovate. That is, how do we make innovation happen? That is by changing our lifestyle, cultivating the Kaizen mindset, find time to think, and also find solutions for needs or pain points. Thank you for ending it by helping us to see how we can sharpen our access to be more innovative. We just want to take this time to thank you for your time and for even talking to us about what innovation is all about. Now the virtual floor is now open for questions. Okay, kindly unmute, introduce yourself, and you can ask your question. If you're asking questions, do raise your hand. Professor Samath will unmute you and help you to ask the question. Over to you. If you have a question, please do. You can go ahead and start asking the questions. Thank you.
Dr. Tara Chandra sir, you are unmuted. Dr. Tara Chandra sir, you can ask your question. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Ms. Batul, you have been unmuted. You can ask your question. Dr. Ranjan Upadhyay, you have been unmuted. You can ask your question.
So I see one question I can see is from Ravi Shankar. And the question is how to motivate ourselves during difficult time. So a couple of things that you can do even during difficult times. One is that, the first thing to do is tell yourself that you are not going to be downtrodden by whatever is happening around you. You have some people who will encourage you. Create a support system around you, and tell yourself that this will also pass. So it's a mindset issue. So we said that we don't think much, but we do have a lot of self-talk, which is we go on talking about it. Something goes wrong, we think, oh, that's the end of the world, all right? And that self-talk carries on. But if we can cut out that self-talk, that is a big help as far as self-motivation is concerned. The other is to ensure that you have some kind of a reward system. So for instance, whenever we do a big project, everything goes well. So personally, I reward myself by making sure I go and buy interior decoration magazine. My hobby is interior decoration, so I go and buy a magazine. And it's very expensive, but I love it. I love to go through it and pick up some ideas, etc. So that's my way of rewarding for a difficult passage through some difficult project. So remember this, that however difficult, it's a question of conditioning our mind. And over a period of time, you will be able to do it. Stephen Covey, who wrote that book, 7 Habits of an Effective Person, he talks about carrying your weather. What he means is that we need to be positive, and wherever we go, we carry that positive weather with us. So even if a professor shouts at us or my boss shouts at us, I need to take it, and then I need to walk away from it and not be affected by it. And therefore, over a period of time, you will create that thick skin, which would help you to stay positive regardless of whatever situation is there.
Yeah, that is one question on the chat. I just want to read it out. It says, can you give some important ways to re-innovate or call to innovate after post-COVID to students?
Okay. So as far as students are concerned, one of the things that you can do is maybe go out on something like an outbound, maybe come up with some kind of exercises like what we do. which is called self-discovery exercises, help them come up with their purpose in life, come up with a vision, their vision for life, come up with a plan, a roadmap, or a milestone chart to say, okay, what am I going to do when? So all of this could excite the students. And again, I haven't worked with students that much. I've been working with the corporate, so I'm not sure whether some of these things will actually help them, but I think it would. Having worked with 26-year-olds in the corporate world, I've seen all of that help them. By the way, Dr. Prabhu Dev or Dr. Shiba or anyone else who has more experience with students, if you have other questions, other answers, please go ahead.
Supriya, Miss Supriya, you have been unmuted. You can ask your question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is, how do we build truly innovative, out of the box ideas?
Okay. So that's what we've been talking about. It doesn't happen overnight. You need to start small. Okay. And that is where we are saying you need to start changing your whole outlook and your lifestyle. If you're bogged down in activity, if you're bogged down and if you're over engaged, that's the starting point. And as you keep at it over a period of time, you will come up with bigger innovations. And again, you are challenging bigger obstacles. You are working on bigger problems. So for instance, if you are at it and people see around you, whether in a college or an organization, people say that you've got a tag, which is basically a tag, basically in terms of idea person, or someone who is seen as very innovative, etc. So that is the time you will get pulled into bigger challenges or bigger problems. And as you work on that, you'll be able to come up with big innovations, which may be affecting the company wide, or affecting the marketplace, or affecting the society. So that's a progressive journey. It doesn't happen overnight. There is no magic formula for it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, one more question.
Yeah.
What impact will emerging technologies like innovating our new industries value of change, sir, based on innovative?
So that's only supportive, right? So all the technology that's happening, that's only supporting us to be better innovators. So technology is something that is supportive. Technology itself cannot help you to be an innovator. So first of all, the idea has to be there. If the idea is not there, nobody knows what technology to bring in. So technology will as of now always be support you and help you to take your innovation to the next couple of levels.
Yeah, Raj, thank you, Supriya. Just one, there is two people have asked, Binesh has asked a question. I'm in my mid-40s and please let me know ways to stay positive and creative. And a similar question, another person is how to carry a positive mindset always.
Okay. So it doesn't matter whether you're in 40s or whether you're in your 70s. Okay. First of all, it's a desire, and that's a good thing. You're asking that question, saying that how do I stay positive? And the first thing I would say is count your blessings. What I mean is that maybe you have something in your life. Okay. It could be a good friend. It could be that you're healthy. It could be that you have a good job. You have some skills and talent. Maybe you are a good professor, or maybe you're a good corporate employee. So that's what I call counting your blessing. So every morning, this is what I do as a part of, as I wake up, I say, wow, it's a great day. Why is it a great day? Because there are so many things going for me. Okay. And come up with a purpose for your life. Very early in my life, I came up with a purpose for my life. The purpose for my life is to be in a position to add value to others, to help people, to release the potential. So the Global Leadership Partners, our company, our tagline is release potential, create leaders. when I worked in Xerox and IBM, one of the things I always told my people who reported to me is that when you wake up in the morning, you need to feel excited. You need to tell yourself, wow, another day. And I tell myself that every morning. I say, it's a wonderful day. All right. And I tell myself, those days I had to go to work. So I used to say, I'm dying to get to work. And when I reach there, I show that to my people by telling them, good morning, how are you, and all of that. So I used to tell the people, I said, on a Monday morning, you need to get this feel that it's an exciting morning. It's an exciting week. I'm dying to get to work and do something. And I used to tell them, if you can't do that, then you need to check and see, do you need to change your job? Do you need to do something else? And I used to do that. Every 2 years, I changed my role. And in 12 years, I changed my jobs. Okay. So the important thing to stay positive is feed into you all the positive thoughts. Okay. And have a purpose for your life. And that purpose will keep pushing you.
Can I add one
Sure.
point here? Really, what you told just now is very, very important, very valid. I think for all of us to be positive all the time, we need to involve in a sort of self-reflection also, at the end of the day, look at yourself and see how the day went by, what did we do, how did we relate ourselves with the people, how we related ourselves with the community, was the day very meaningful? These kind of self-reflective related activities were difficult to follow, but thing is, it will give us insight, it will give us a sense of purpose, and we will be prepared mentally to face the next day in a very meaningful way. So to ensure that, I was telling in my introductory talk, I was talking about teaching, but coming out of teaching and applying the same to our day-to-day life, ensure that there is not even a single dull moment. It is a concerted effort. It takes a different dispensation for all of us to look at ourselves, to ensure that we add values every single moment. It's a tall order. It's a tall order, but it keeps us firmly rooted. It keeps us in our commitment to be self-motivated and stay positive. And there was a question relating to students post-COVID and all that. See here, COVID, it was a very difficult time for all the teachers. It was a difficult time and for the students also. And thank God, we have crossed that difficult stage. But our students have come to the class with a greater excitement. To learn, it is a very positive thing. Interact among ourselves. There is a different level of enthusiasm among students. And we, the faculty, should ensure that we foster an environment in the class where the students think creatively. After all, we talk of forces, creativity, communication, and all that, So the creativity in the class should be fostered, should be encouraged, and there should not be monologue, there should be dialogue. Therefore, whether it is COVID, post-COVID or not, the students and the teachers, they have a beautiful opportunity to make the best use of that 60 minutes or 90 minutes as the case may be. And personally, it is my experience. And every time when I go to the class, that energy level, it is so important. When you enter the class, the frame of mind with which you enter the class can ignite thought process, and the students are connected with the faculty and throughout the duration of the class. So this is my
very good,
thought.
very good, very well put. The motivation is always contagious.
Yes,
if you're
yes.
motivated, others get motivated. If you're demotivated, others get demotivated. So motivation is always contagious, positive or negative. Very good.
Yeah, I just like to add on what Sir was saying, because it's very true that somebody had asked a question: how do you get your students motivated post-COVID? COVID has had a big impact on young people, especially maybe we think that it's not there. They've lost, like what Sir was saying, they've lost people in the family, they've lost their members, and also emotionally, it's had a big toll on them. So when they come into a class, it becomes very difficult for them. We think we can take them to the next level in terms of they've lost a lot. A year of actually they have not learned anything. Maybe even online classes haven't really helped them. So we have to. I mean, one of the things I've learned is in these, maybe even it's a 1.5 hour or 2 hour session, 10 minutes. I mean, if you are a faculty, please take time to just, like what Sir was saying, let them relax, let them just listen. As we were talking, let them have some quiet time to just reflect on themselves and then take the class, because that will really make them more, will energize them, and they'll be more attentive in the class when they are more, when they're interested in what you're talking. And I think that's just something that probably I wanted to share.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Shiba.
Yeah, I think another question that was there, sir, was that, it says, Sonali has asked, it was really a splendid class. My question is, you said we have to have a brainstorm or other ways for innovative ideas, but mostly what matters is the cost of innovative ideas matters a lot. Is there a solution or an advice we all should maintain in the same weightage?
Okay, so if you're talking about the cost to it, or how do you come up with what is the best idea, then we normally talk about a couple of things. The first thing we say is ease of implementation, how easy it is to implement an idea. The other one, we talk about the time taken to implement an idea. The third one we talk about is in terms of the money that is needed to implement an idea. All right. So the fourth one we see is from a perspective of who is going to be the customer for that, would they be delighted with that idea or solution? So 4 things to watch out for when you are deciding or agreeing on an idea from a couple of ideas. All right. So there are some multiple ideas are there, and you have to pick up one idea. Then you look at the ease of implementing it, the time taken to implement it, the cost of implementing it, and from the perspective of who is the customer to that idea, whether they would be happy and delighted with that particular idea.
Yeah. Thank you, Raj. I think we have time for one more question. I think Dr. Ranjan, would you like to ask this question? If you can unmute Dr. Ranjan.
Just a second now.
Yeah.
Dr. Ranjan, you can unmute yourself and raise your question. We are not able to hear you, Dr. Ranjan.
No, he says he has some
Voice related problem.
I think so there's some technical glitch there. No?
Yeah.
I think so. Ms. Batul again has raised her hand. I'll just check if there is an issue. Ms. Batul, you have been unmuted. You can just unmute and raise your question. I think so. Basavana Gowda, this will be the last question. Basavana Gowda, sir, has.
Sir, good morning. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, actually, I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. After COVID, after novel coronavirus, our education system totally going very low level or decreased nowadays. But students also in same case addict to mobile activities. Now after in Corona session or COVID time, online classes purpose, mobile utilization is okay. I accept. But after COVID-19, is it need, sir? Is it affect on their careers? No. It is my question, sir. How we motivate without mobile learning through teachers, sir.
Okay, I'm not sure if I understood the question, but basically, I think probably the question is around how do we motivate our students to move away from their gadgets and learn while they are in the session, in the class, etc. I think that's what it is all about. And again, specific to the college situation, I can ask Dr. Prabhu Dev or Dr. Shiba Thomas to respond to it. But what we have done in the corporate world is we came to the conclusion that you cannot get them away from they are so used to the gadgets, difficult to get them away from it. And therefore, the only thing that we can do is we do things which will get them, at least give them some amount of time where they're away from their screen time. Okay. And so that is more by appealing to them, telling them why they should do it, for the health reasons, for doing things differently, etc., etc. But to a great extent, whether when they're at work, when they're at home, their screen time is something that's always there with them. So if we appeal to these people and if we are role models, I've seen in some of the places it works. For instance, when people come into our session, we get them to come up with a norm which says phones will be on silent modes and put away. In another organization where I run some sessions, what they have done is they have a box. As soon as you walk into the office, into that particular room for the programs, everybody deposits their phone there, right? And and again, we've also stopped using PowerPoints to help people to learn. It may be something that's used in the colleges, etc., the easy way to do it, but we are bringing in what we call experiential learning. So as a part of the innovation, exercise, we have come up with close to about 50 different things that you can do, which would be experiential for our learners from an activity base, so that they are hands-on, they're learning, and they are not listening to somebody.
And I would like to add here, you said activity-based learning, but in a classroom situation, collaborative learning is very important. See, in spite of technology, teacher in the class is still relevant because there is something called classroom interaction. There is a lot of learning in the class when the faculty opens up their discussion in the class, and when there is a chance for every student to be heard in the class. It is a beautiful environment. So it fosters learning. It takes learning to the next level, and all the students will have a feeling that they are connected with each other, and all of them are connected with the teacher. Therefore, mobile and all the technology, in spite of that, when the students and the teacher enter the class, they should have a distinct feeling that they can express, they can come out with their out of the box thinking, and they can contribute. And here I strongly feel that the teacher has got huge responsibility to open up discussion in the class, to encourage ideas, so that the teaching learning will assume a different level altogether. I belong to an era where when I started my teaching career way back in 1976, so technology was not there at all. We were having chalk and talk. But later, I have been part of teaching using technology. I have seen different groups of students to ensure that the learning is really collaborative learning in the class.
That's very good. Yes, the learning has to be collaborative. Yes, that's very good. Yes. So one last thing I wanted to share before we close out is I haven't talked about what's in it for you as students or as people who are working. So I thought of three things, and I will once again quickly share my screen. So this is how innovation can help and shape your future. The first thing is, if you're innovative, And if you let the, if you're innovative, you come across this person who thinks, who are, not the run of the mill, and you express yourself in a LinkedIn, and I know many of you are in LinkedIn, even students, the employees can spot you, and it becomes easier to get your dream job. Even at the interviews, they will be checking this for you to see whether you can be, whether you are an innovative person, whether you are a creative person. And therefore, if you are, and it will come out very easily, if you are practicing what I've talked about earlier, and if you are seen as an innovative person, you can first of all get your dream job much easier. And you will stand out in the crowd among all employees. You'll stand out, and people will be pointing out to you and saying, hey, that guy is an idea guy, or that guy is pretty innovative. He thinks differently, he thinks out of the box, etc. And by being innovative, you will be very, very happy in your job. You will have job satisfaction, or whatever you do, you will be pretty happy with that. And the combination of all these three is you will have a fast track for your career. So from a student's point of view, this is what is in it for you. If you are innovative, it can definitely, certainly shape your future.
Thank you. Are we done with the questions?
Ma'am, 2 more questions are there. Can we take it, ma'am?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dr. Fatima, you have been unmuted. You can raise your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so first of all, it's a very wonderful session, really good on so many topics. The question which I had is, like just now, Sir mentioned that we can stand out and be part of the crowd. So this is one thing, when many of you are doing the same job, how do you stand out in a way, like show your potential and show like you have different ideas, and like how do you stand out? This is a very big thing in a competitive environment.
Yes. So one part is doing your job. The other part is making sure you are creative, and therefore you're coming up with something totally new. Okay. To give you a quick story, we were talking about a donut shop, and they had brought in some new people, and they were put through some training, and they were told that you all need to produce 10 donuts every day. So after the training period was over, it was seen that one person was producing 12, another was producing 10, and another third person was producing only 9. And so everybody was happy with the person producing 12, but he didn't stop at producing 12. He went and he helped the person who was producing 10 to produce 12, and then he helped with the person who was producing 9 to produce 12 donut. And so at the end of the year, when the appraisal was done, they gave a 1 rating to the person who helped the other 2 also reach the 10 target or overachieve the target. And then he didn't stop at that. Without being told, he actually put a process in place. So everybody follows that process. So now the new norm was 10 to 12. Okay. So what I'm saying is that you need to look around and see what are those unique things that you can bring into that team. Surely everybody will be trying their best to do their job, but we need to do more than our job, right? We need to bring in something new into the job, and that's what innovation is all about. So even if you're sharing what your new thoughts, if your workplace is not conducive to sharing new thought, if you go and put it out in the LinkedIn or some of the platforms, the social media platform, then others outside the organization will recognize you as a thought leader and start inviting you to share your thoughts in big forums or as a keynote speaker, etc. And therefore, that's when even in your organization, they will see you. And again, it's okay if everybody is doing all of that, but still you can have your unique position because your interest may be different. For instance, my interest is to add value to people. I don't want to take any credit. I want to help people. And therefore, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Whereas there may be somebody else who may be doing what I'm doing, but they will put it out on the YouTube. They will talk about it. They will get a lot of recognition, but I don't need that. Okay, I'm self-motivated. So Dr. Fatima, I don't know if that answers.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I understood. You're saying go extra and do something which will be more unique in the team. Thank you so much.
The last question from Ms. Tejaswita. Ma'am, you have been unmuted. Kindly unmute yourself and raise your question.
Ma'am, you need to unmute yourself. I think you're still mute.
Tejaswita ma'am, I think so you have to unmute yourself and then raise your question. We have allowed permission to talk.
Yeah, I think she has an issue with her audio. Yes.
Ma'am, we have completed with all the raised, just a second. No? Yeah, raised hands. So there are no more questions. One question from Rafana. One second, ma'am. Ms. Rafana, you have been unmuted. Kindly unmute yourself and pose your question.
Thank you so much. Glad to see you all here with the great motivated. And where do innovations go wrong?
So innovations can go wrong if there is a negative purpose. And sometimes we see that happening. Okay. People use, I mean, a simple example is this. Today, technology is used to defraud you. Technology is used to, break into banks or break into systems and, either spread hate or take your money away or do something harmful. So innovation can be used for the negative purpose. So if we can be very conscious that when we are looking at it, always have positivity in our heart and mind, and always think of innovation as something that will actually help someone and not harm anyone.
Thank you so much, sir.
Samat sir, are we done with the questions?
Yeah, ma'am, we are done with the question answer session now.
Thank you so much. I think it was really just as we all discussed and we spoke, that innovation is just not for ourselves. It needs to help people around you. And with that, I would like to close. A big thank you to all for making this possible. And also thank you, Mr. Rajshekhar, for your valuable insights and for making us, beyond just going out probably to see how positive we are. And I think positivity is the first step for innovation. And I think that could bring in a lot of changes for people around us. Thank you, Dr. Prabhu Dev. I think your insights and your experience and your vast years of experience has been a great inspiration to many around. Thank you so much. And just want to let you know, the participants, your e-certificates will be issued upon completion of your feedback form, and it will be shared on the chat box. I think that's already been shared. Or maybe once you finish that, you will get your e-certificate. Okay, a big thank you to all of you who've come here nationally, internationally. You've been part of this webinar, and every webinar we come to learn something new. Maybe we've heard this topic a number of times, but what do we get? And I think that's what makes us, give us that value addition to our students or our colleagues or whoever's around us, and even in our families. Thank you so much. Most of all, I want to thank all the participants nationally, internationally, who were there with us and have really been active with all the webinars. A big thank you to all for making this possible, especially the faculty and the staff and all at NQI College of Management, all of you for your overwhelming response and to be so gratifying to all the faculty and students. Have a great weekend and continue to innovate and be a blessing to this world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shiba.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. E-certificates will be sent to the registered email IDs.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank
You too.
Thank you, Mr. Raj. Thank you. Thank
My
you
pleasure.
all.
My pleasure.
Thank you all the participants.
Thank you all.
Thank you all participants.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.